like I wouldn't even classify myself as an artist. Some actors say that they're just, the mouthpieces of the writers. In a way, yeah, we do create, but not in the same way as an artist creates an image or a sculpture. It is so mind-blowing to see that process and to see how it works and to see it form within an artist that you're kind of like, wow, okay, I ain't got shit on that. Do you know what I mean?
Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Young Performers podcast. Thank you everyone who tuned in last week to hear Jamie. It was fantastic fun chatting to him. But today we have a brand new interviewee, the wonderful Mr. Abubakar Salim.
What's up?
So thank you so much for coming, man.
No worries.
Be on the show.
This is good fun.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you.
Yeah.
So we should start right from the beginning.
Okay.
We're doing this with pretty much everyone.
Okay.
So horribly vague question. Do your best. How did you first get involved in acting?
Oh, wow.
Well,
Back in 1990, no. It was actually by accident. I mean, I was just about to pick my GCSEs and I remember thinking, okay, mum and dad want me to do some academic subjects. So I'm talking about like sciences, maths. I mean, they were already there, but I mean, things like business studies or whatever, the kind of serious stuff that would, make me be a doctor or be like a pilot or something. Anyway, and I was talking to my drama teacher about this, and my drama teacher was like, oh, but drama's an academic subject. And I was like, oh, really? Oh, okay. And then I signed on to do drama for GCSEs, which my mum and dad weren't particularly pleased with. But I mean, from then on, it was just one thing. I mean, like the bug probably bit me ages ago, like, subconsciously, without me even thinking about it. Because I can always remember doing like little performances and little sort of dances in front of my mum and dad. I mean, there was like one instance where I reenacted this scene from Beauty and the Beast where the beast dies and turns into a prince and I stole the blanket. And I remember doing this in front of my mum and dad while we were watching this. And this was on like the VHS tape thingies. And I mean, we were just watching the film, but I kept rewinding it back again to do the same thing again, just trying to get some sort of reaction from them because they weren't reacting, which is a good thing because normally they're like, what are you doing? Get out of the way. Or like, just really aggressive. But actually they were kind of like, meh, okay, fine, whatever. He's a kid. Like, let him do what he's got to do.
he's really good at this.
Exactly. They're like, oh, Jesus. Anyway, but, and so yeah, I was always quite active as a kid, my mum used to say. Which is funny because I always remember myself being really shy. But anyway, so GCSE drama kicked in, did that, and then I did NYT. I auditioned for NYT. And I remember actually telling myself that if I don't get in the first time round, or I don't get in through this audition, I'm not gonna do acting again. And I did. And I got in and I was like, oh, great. So maybe this could work. And I was like, so went through that, kind of breezed through that, still thinking this could still work and stuff. And I mean, I didn't know about drama schools at all until I was just about to finish my A-levels. And I only auditioned for like 2 drama schools. And it was RADA and LAMDA. My RADA one was abysmal, like actually abysmal. I got my mum to like dress me. And like, she was like, and remember to smile and be really, really polite. So she had me in this like suit and like, I was just thinking, this isn't right because everyone's in like slacks and I'm like fully booted suit. How am I going to be like doing like crazy monologues in this? I look like I'm going in for a business interview. Anyway, but then my LAMDA one, I decided to just go in with whatever. And it went really well and I got in. So so there you go. So trust yourself. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's how I still feel like I'm really new to this and still like trying to get an idea of what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's quite a weird one. And yeah, here I am. Now talking about it like as if it's something I do, which I do, I think. Oh God. Anyway, but yeah.
Awesome. So you did NYT.
Yeah.
How much NYT did you do? Did you just do the introductory 2-week course?
Yeah, I just did the 2-week course, and I did.
NYT is the National Youth Theatre for those who don't know. Sorry, as you like, carry on.
Sorry, no, I did. I did the 2-week course, and it was. I mean, it was great. Still, like one of the like I can remember everything. It was brilliant. I made some really good friends from that course, and it was kind of the first sort of experience away from home as well, because we were in these sort of like university digs. So so I did the 2-week introductory course, and then I did some auditions for productions, and I think the only thing that I got out of it was a job at the National when the Cottesloe was there, Prince of Denmark. They did it, which was a new writing for National Theatre Connections, and they were auditioning NYT members, and I luckily got a part playing Osric, and that was good fun. I mean, I didn't even know what the National was then. I didn't even know it was this huge theatre that is like almost impossible to get in, which I haven't got in since. So like, it's just like, I wish anyway, but like it was quite something. It was quite, it was a great experience. I mean, it was like a 2-week run, but it was so much fun.
Tell us about LAMDA.
Right.
What's the vibe there? Why'd you pick it?
Well, I picked it because it was the only place that took me in, and I was really lucky to get in. No, but also, I mean, like, it was great. I mean, like, it was a brilliant experience. I mean, it was a weird time because at that time while training, my father fell ill, so I was dealing with a lot of sort of stuff back at home. So I wasn't really involved much with the social sort of situations with the school. I mean, I did a few parties here and there, but not necessarily to the point of the experience of LAMDA for me was just solely based on the training aspect. That's what I can really remember from it. I mean, I made, good friends as well from LAMDA. I mean, great friends. But I mean, for me, the most memorable part of it was how intense the training was and just how much it demanded from you. And it's quite tough because especially when you've got a lot of friends who go to uni at the same time as you going to drama school. There's a lot of free time that your friends have that you realize, and trying to stay in contact with them or trying to talk to them is so hard. I mean, like, what could be 3 months or a term for us it's like a week, whereas to them it's like we haven't spoken to them for ages. So it was quite mental trying to grasp that. But I mean, it flew by. I can still remember, getting that call saying we'd like to offer you a place. But it was just, I mean, it was tough. It was really demanding, but I loved it. I mean, it was one of those things which you have to really enjoy what you're doing to survive drama school, because if you don't, it's so demanding that it can just drive you nuts. It can really, really drive you nuts if you don't enjoy it. And I mean, there were moments, I mean, like, I remember the first year thinking, I don't want to do this anymore, because it was just so demanding. But then as the second year rolled in, it, got to know a bit more of what's going on. You get used to it, and it was, more enjoyable. I enjoyed it more. I enjoyed the work aspect of it all. And then the third year rolled on, and that also was like a breeze. It was enjoyable. I mean, the whole stress of the agents and the showcases and all that sort of stuff was really, it was there, and it was in the background, because you were thinking, okay, if I don't do well in this year, I could end up, going back to square one, or having come out of it not really gain anything. Of course, you would have gained the training, but at the same time, it's also that feeling of you need to work. It's like you're not going to be on student loan anymore. You're going to be, need to find a way of making a living. So, it just felt like it just flew by, but it was, I mean, I loved it. I really, really enjoyed it. And I think it's something that, I mean, as I'm still, still working here and there, it feels like moments of what I've learned during the training. And they say this all the time. They're like, bits will click in as you work and as you do stuff. And yeah, they're right. I mean, elements and bits and pieces which, I learned from, like, let's say a voice class, which I thought was pointless, just sitting there breathing all the time for like an hour, actually like helps me, whenever I'm on stage. It's like I can just turn it on, which is great. Like, it's so valuable in that respect. So yeah, I mean, LAMDA really did shift something and made me think, okay, I can do this as an actual profession. I can do this professionally. I know what I'm doing. It just gave me a huge toolkit. Even when I got my first job, it was still like a deer in headlights. I still had no idea what was going to happen or what I'm doing. I completely forgot everything. But at the same time, LAMDA almost allowed me to just trust the fact that I can do this. And yeah, and touch wood, it continues that way because it's worked so far. I mean, I've been quite lucky since graduating. Yeah.
So, what was the schedule like at LAMDA? So, like, in terms of the training, what was your kind of daily schedule or weekly schedule?
Okay, if I can remember this. Okay, it was pretty much like start at 10 and we'd be finishing at around 6 o'clock, 6:30. We'd have a few days where we'd be finishing at 9 o'clock. And it would, I mean, in the first year, I think it was 4 times a week, we would be doing a voice class. Like, there would be at least an hour or two of voice involved, and that would mean phonetics or breathing or just trying to get your words around your lips, your freaking something that I'm failing at now.
Yeah,
but it's trying to get your mouth. There we go.
Yeah,
your mouth around the words. Which, Jesus, it shows that 3 years have done so much for me. But but no, like, yeah. So the voice was really, really heavy during the first year. And I mean, we'd have what was so amazing as well, what I found really funny was that during the training, there was rarely any acting classes. And I remember thinking, but this is what I signed up to do. And like, we had like 1 acting class or 2 a week. And it was really like simple stuff. Like, it'd be like, an impro or or like a little technique, like objectives or whatever. And to me, it just didn't feel like enough because it was covered with, movement classes, voice, singing, like fight, dance, what else? As I said, like phonetics with accents and stuff. I mean, it just basically, the acting aspect of it really didn't feel like it existed. And coming to think of it, it's quite nice because I guess the whole first year is just preparing you physically, really, for what's going to come. And as long as because I guess as actors, our instrument is our body, is our voice. So you can't really act unless you've got these fine-tuned. And I guess that kind of I understood that later down the line. Which, I mean, to me felt, at the time while doing it, felt kind of like, but still, we just need to act. That's all we need to learn. Like, all the, how can I look like, look good in this scene or look good in that? And it was all about the self, really. But actually what they did was, subconsciously or whether consciously, was completely remove the eye on yourself and made it a lot more ensemble-y and made you kind of think, think about other people as well. I mean, like, that's my experience. I mean, again, that was my sort of way of understanding it. Maybe they didn't even think that at all and they were just physically preparing us. Or maybe people were still thinking about themselves. But my sort of take on it was, okay, so they're preparing us physically for what's to come. So if we were thrown into the mix of doing like a musical number, okay, I've had a bit of basic dance to know that I can actually hold a little tap sequence or whatever. So it was filled with everything but acting for the first year. And the second year we started getting into scenes, but it was still very heavily into, you know, the movement aspect, voice, as well as, you know, fight and stuff. And not only until we hit the sort of third year was when we were tested when it came to the whole acting, you know, actual plays, as well as in front of an audience, in front of an actual audience that come to see us. Because everything was also kept in-house during the first and second year. It was like the first year was between our peers. The second year was with other year groups to come see us. And it wasn't fully fleshed plays. It was still, you know, workshops almost. And then the third year, it was, again, that preparation to sort of, to be aware of a live audience and take in what was, you know, almost not react, but feel that energy from them. So, yeah, I mean, it was a good structure to it. I mean, I'm sure, you know, they're constantly changing. I remember hearing that the third years when I was a first year had a complete different sort of schedule and way of working. I mean, it was similar, but there was elements which they you know, the school could have improved on, and the school could have, you know, we're doing great at. I mean, for example, the film and TV element of my year was amazing, was fantastic, because apparently they, you know, it was just starting, as you know, when the previous years that graduated had just left, and they didn't really get that much training. Whereas I felt that we got quite a bit, you know, for audition prep, from, you know, learning like how to hit your mark, and also, you know, even some voice stuff as well, like as in voiceover stuff, like how far away you got to be from your mic and all this sort of jazz. So they kind of prepared you pretty well for all those areas. And I'm sure, you know, now people who have probably started now or who have just graduated had a much better experience because it's constantly improving. And I quite like that. I like the fact that it wasn't this sort of machine that churns out actors. I mean, they all do. But at the same time, it's quite organic in the way in teaching. And it felt like they were really trying to benefit the students, or, you know, trying to get good results from students. Yeah, it was funny. I guess that answered your question in some crazy way, right? Yeah. Sorry.
No,
but yeah.
Brilliant. So did you find over the course of your training, you had one like breakthrough moment or performance?
Oh man, I think I had a few.
Yeah.
And I think it was like a mixture of breakthrough as well as like, what the hell am I doing here? Why am I doing this? You know, like it questioned everything. I mean, like, yeah, I had moments where I felt like, okay, cool, I know what I'm doing. And then moments where I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And I've been here for 2 years. Having come out of drama school and having worked, is that you're still learning so much from outside that you're going to have tons of breakthrough moments where you realize, oh, this works for me. But if you keep flogging that horse, it's gonna die inside you. So you've got to try and find something new. I guess, you know, it's like, you know, different ways or methods of approaching a script or like an audition. I mean, I always used to have one way of going for it. And then as time has gone on, it's changed and developed, and, you know, I guess that in itself was a breakthrough, because I was like, oh, maybe I could approach it this way. But it's constantly changing, and I love that, because it keeps it afresh and it keeps it new for me. So in a way, I guess with breakthroughs and sort of hitting brick walls, I'm constantly facing them. I'm constantly having to hit them, and I'm sure people do all the time. But yeah, I guess there was one moment at drama school where I remember bawling my eyes out because we did this exercise called the song exercise. And I mean, I'm quite funny in the respect that I'm not that emotional. I don't like the idea of crying. It's a weird sort of like cultural thing that has been instilled as men don't cry kind of thing. So like but when I did, there was a song exercise where I remember, and it was just simply repeating a song lyric and just focusing on the beat and just doing it until it hits like an emotional spark in you. and then you launch into like, let's say, a monologue. I think I was doing like a Hamlet speech. It sounds so freaking cringy. Anyway, but like it was just like I remember that happening, and I was in complete control. And I remember like crying, like doing this speech like a wimp. Anyway, but I remember thinking, oh my God, I can actually, you know, I can cry in a way. It was like a revelation. I mean, like, it's not like I haven't cried before, but it was that sort of thing. Like, okay, I can actually cry in front of people in an actory sense, and it's not that bad. It's fine. I mean, it was that. I guess that to me was a breakthrough moment, because again, I think I was so set in my ways of showing one type of emotion. Like I was good at anger, or I was like good at like happiness, but there was no sort of, you know, it was very sort of one line, one track. And I guess that moment of me sort of breaking down, let's say, kind of made me realize that, you know what, it's cool to show all other different types of emotions. There's different shades to everything. So I guess that was one breakthrough moment. But as I said, like there's been so many, and so many moments where where I thought, actually, I've lost myself. I have no idea what I'm doing. But I guess that's just part of it. I think that's that's in everything. You know, I think that's with any professional career, is you're gonna have moments where you're just like, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing now. I know where I'm going in my life. And moments where you're like, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing on this earth. Do you know what I mean? And that's kind of, that's what I kind of got from it.
Do you have any advice for anyone who might be, say, hitting one of these brick walls or going through one of those moments where they don't feel like they know what they're doing, anything like that?
I mean, I find advice funny because everyone's different. But
Yeah.
I mean, I guess my little way of doing it was to enjoy it, to enjoy that moment of panic. So, I mean, very difficult because you're panicking, and you're feeling really bad. But like, I guess whenever I hit like a brick wall or I felt really uncomfortable, I remember thinking, okay, I'm stuck. Oh my God. Wow, so this is how you feel like when you're stuck. Oh God, what's gonna happen next? Oh, I don't know. Oh my God, that's terrifying. Actually, no, it's pretty cool. I could do anything. I could be any. Oh my God. So it was like this constant like battle in your mind, like what is going on? But I think my way of dealing with it was just to enjoy those moments and focus on something else. Like I would always, I used to love gaming, for example. So I'd like be like, okay, I'm not getting anywhere with this. I'm going to treat myself to playing like an hour of video games. And as I'm playing like, I don't know, like Assassin's Creed or something, I'm like, oh my God, I know what I need to do now. And then I stop the game and then I go back to it and I'll be like, yes, it works. So it's like, I guess it's just like removing yourself from sticking into one thing. And because I think trying to break through that same wall, sometimes it can be futile because it's not going to get anywhere because you have created it yourself. There it is. It's there in front of you. Maybe if you remove yourself from it and kind of see the bigger picture, you'll find another way around it. So try and mine advice out of that. Try and find something out of that because honestly, I still don't know how I do it.
Yeah. So moving towards the end of the training, how did you find the process of trying to get an agent and all that side of things when it came to leaving drama school? And
my way of dealing with the whole industry side of things at the final year was to be as proactive and as ready as possible. So I remember we were quite lucky because we had an industry liaison called Laura, and she was fantastic. So, and I would constantly pester her with, hey, okay, look at this draft email that I'm going to be sending to agents. Is that all right? Is it fine? And she'd be like, yes, no, change this, change that. And it was great. It was great because she was a casting director. And I remember just getting this list of agents from IMDb Pro, just trolling through sites, asking friends who had already signed, just getting advice that way. And I remember sending something ridiculous like 50, 70, like hundreds of freaking emails to agents, and if there was any sort of personal connection to them. So let's say if I knew one of their clients and they'd spoken very highly of them. Whether they did or not doesn't matter. Point is that, you know, it was that kind of like little way in. But I remember doing that. I remember, even emailing casting directors just in case I didn't get signed, kind of try and build a relationship with the casting directors as well. I mean, directors. And it was tough. It was difficult because I guess in drama school, a lot of the time, once you get in, it's very easy to fall into the trap of believing that that's it. I'm going to be the next big star. Like, I'm in the school where so-and-so trained here, so-and-so went here. By the end of the third year, I'm going to be in like the next Hollywood film. It's just going to break for me. When actually that isn't the case. I mean, again, you sort of form this bubble which gets popped quite quickly after a year of being out of drama school. But I guess it was just preparing myself for what was to come and trying to find a way of, I guess I was preparing myself for being signed to an agent or not being signed. And I feel that if I wasn't signed, I wouldn't be disappointed. I would be slightly disappointed, but not so much so, because I was expecting the best and the worst in a way. I'm now with a very good agent who I'm really happy with, and I say very good because my relationship with them is strong, and I can call them up and have a laugh with them, or talk business with them. It's a good relationship. So in my eyes, that's a very good agent if I can actually talk to them. So and yeah, I've no complaints, no problems in that respect. But it was exciting to begin with, and as time went on, without having meetings with so and so and not hearing anything, it begins getting terrifying. And I guess I was just swooped just in time before I began to panic, which is quite, it's quite normal, I guess, when you have no idea what's, what you thought was going to work out and happen doesn't happen. And I mean, it's a very, I guess a human thing to sort of be prepared for one thing, but then have something completely, get the rug taken from below you and just realize, oh my God, actually this isn't how it's going to work out. It's going to be completely different. So I mean, that was my way of dealing with it, and it's also quite difficult. I remember actually now thinking of it, it was quite difficult to shut yourself off from hearing who's met who, and it was so. At times you'd feel a bit jealous. At times you'd feel a bit like, oh great, that's amazing. At times you'd be a bit like, why haven't they mentioned, talk to me? I was in the same show. And it was hard to kind of, turn the volume down on that little monster inside your head, because it was a scary time, because it was almost like, you were in this safe zone of making as many mistakes as you can and it's fine. And you're being pushed now to work professionally and make money without this sort of safety net there for you. And yeah, it's you begin, like all animals, you begin to get desperate. So you begin to, your emotions are high. You begin to start questioning why no agent's calling you. Is it because you're a shit actor? Is it because you're because you're a great actor and they can't handle you, which is what I used. But like, it was just like, different ways of, you're just trying to wrap your head around this whole machine and monster that you have no idea about. But what you do realize actually is everyone's in that same boat, and everyone's in the same mind frame. And you find comfort in that, because you realize that, okay, if I'm going through this, so-and-so who trained here probably went through the same thing. So it's just a natural process. So it'll be fine. As long as I just keep doing it, it'll be fine. So I guess that was my inner monologue every morning as I woke up to tackle the third year, really. So yeah.
So after drama school, what was your first job?
Ooh, well, my first taste of an actual professional job was actually during my third year training, and that was doing 24 when they were filming in London, that Live Another Day kind of spin-off. and I was playing like Secret Agent Number 1, and it was like, it was great because I had no idea what the hell 24 was. But I had a really good, like my closest friend was such a big fan of 24, and he'd constantly be trying to get me to watch it, and I'd be like, meh, okay. And then when I told him that, oh yeah, I'm in 24, he's like, what? And you don't even know what you're doing. It was great. It was great. But yeah, that was my first taste of a professional job, like while the training was going on, as well as, you know, the end of training. And it's funny because my first actually ever job was an ITV job called The Jury. And I think I was 16. And it was just, you know, just really, again, quite fluky. I got like a little agent who put me up for this audition, and I got the job and I did it, and it was fine, playing this like African guy, whatever. And I remember not being terrified. I remember because I had no idea what I was doing or what was going on, I was very much like, okay, I'm just gonna learn my lines and just do whatever happens. But then doing 24, and I had a much smaller role, I was shitting it. Like, I had like one line here to deliver to like Kiefer Sutherland, and I remember just thinking, they're just gonna fire me like right on the day. Like, it was so surreal. And like, I thought like, okay, I've done like 3 years of training, and I feel like I'm worse off than I was before I started. But yeah, I mean, 24 was the first sort of gig, and that was quite something.
Cool. So, so you did a show at the Donmar.
Yes.
Didn't you?
Yes, I did.
I was wondering, well, for a start, if you could tell our viewers about the Donmar and what that experience was like.
Okay. I did a play called Teddy Ferrara at the Donmar, and it was an interesting play. It was good. I enjoyed it. It was good fun. I mean, again, it was my first sort of experience in a theatre of that kind of size.
Yeah.
And again, I had no idea what the hell the Donmar was, even when auditioning for it. I mean, like I kind of had heard bits and bobs here and there, but I had no idea what it was. So I kind of went in again blind. And I played like a tiny role. I mean, I was again, security guard number 1. Like, it was that kind of, it was that sort of size of role where I had like a few lines and to come in and bust these people out. I mean, the story is, oh God, now if I can get the idea. Basically, it was about, there was a student who killed himself because he was, I don't know whether it was cyberbullied or bullied because he was gay in a university in America. And the writer, Chris, was, I mean, he's a brilliant man, really, really interesting, and the writing itself was also, you know, it was good, it was powerful stuff. But my experience of it was quite funny because, again, I had this tiny role. I came in, you know, I only rehearsed for 2 weeks because they brought in me and this other guy later on, and during the previews, you know, I had these 2 policeman security scenes, and come to press night, one of my scenes got cut. And I was like, wow, I must be really shit because I don't even have to say that much and I'm still getting my lines cut. So it was like, that was quite weird. But the plus side of that though was that I could just rock up at the Donmar after interval. So I could just literally like have dinner with my family, be like, okay, gonna do my little short bit, go on stage, do my little like, get out of the toilet, and then like run off back home. Like, it was really, really easy. But it was it was lovely because we got the sort of benefits of like, because it's like in, you know, the center of town, you get membership to like the Ivy and the hospital club and all this sort of stuff. And that was really quite surreal and quite funny to take in. But no, it was wonderful. I mean, again, like, I haven't had a bad, you know, sort of London theatre experience. And I've only done like 4 London theatres. and it's just been so lovely. I mean, yeah, the Donmar was definitely enjoyable. It allowed me to not only sort of relax in a professional setting, but it also allowed me to watch other actors who had much bigger parts work and see what process they have to go through and see how they sort of, maneuver around, the stage and all this sort of stuff. Because, I mean, I wasn't doing anything really. So it was quite nice to do that and see and experience that in such a prestigious theatre.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Wonderful. So you're currently at the Hampstead Theatre.
Yes.
In Labyrinth.
Yes.
So how did that all come about?
In the play, there's this comedic duo, I'd say, called, I think it's Rick and Phil, and I auditioned for either one, and that was where I met Anna and Beth and the casting directors, and I didn't get a recall, but they offered me bartender and Trent and a few other roles. And it's funny because I also auditioned for another play, and I guess the sort of decide, and I was in this sort of lucky crossroads of being like, okay, do I say no to one and then go with the other, or do I go with whatever? And I guess the deciding factor of it was the writing was just, I mean, I fell in love with the writing. It was so much bigger than what the actual play was about, which was banking, that I just wanted to have a shot and crack at, tackling that kind of thing on stage. Yeah. And again, it's been another enjoyable experience because I've not been so, I mean, the part that I play isn't, it's not a big part, but it's just, just enough for me to also watch, again, other actors move and work and almost like, not steal, but, just sort of remember little bits and be like, oh, I really like that. That's quite nice. And like kind of reflect in that way. I'm not so caught up in thinking, oh my God, I must do this bit, I must do that bit, I must learn these lines, I must do those lines. I mean, I learned my lines, like, I think 2 weeks in rehearsal, and we had 5 weeks. So within, for the rest of those, 3 weeks, I was able to sort of watch the other people work. And yeah, I mean, it's been a brilliant experience so far.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we're now going to do some quick fire questions, which we do every week.
Okay.
So these are just stupid, silly little things, but you've got to answer them as quickly as you can. Just a bit of fun.
Okay.
So, cats or dogs?
Dogs. And no, I'm not gonna stop there as well, because this has been going on for my mind for ages, right? Listen, all right. Anyone who has a cat, right? I feel for you, okay? I do, because this is the reason, right? Dogs are extremely loyal. They love you to the end of the world. They will always and constantly love you. Whereas cats, they don't give a fuck about you, right? You might think that they're so lovely. They're coming on my lap and they're all this purring and all this sort of stuff. They just want food from you. They want something from you. Whereas dogs, they just want love. So for that, I'm saying dogs. I'm sorry, I just had to like.
Of course, no. Get off your chest.
Okay.
We love honesty on this show.
Cool.
So favorite comfort food?
Ben & Jerry's cookie dough.
Nice. Ideal holiday location?
Oh man, somewhere away from civilization and human beings, with lots of sun, the sea, and a friendly coconut.
Favorite word?
Toboggan. I'm literally like, okay.
Least favorite word?
But, yes, but is my least favorite. I don't know why, but yes, it is. But it's just, yes.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars, man.
Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones?
Lord of the Rings, baby.
Favorite swear word?
Fuck.
What superpower would you have?
I would have the power. Oh shit. Oh my God, now my mind's like going. My power would be the power to fly.
Awesome. So, thank you very much. Last question of the show.
Right.
Title of the show.
Okay.
So, what next?
I can't tell you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's the most exciting answer we can get, though.
Yeah. That's the thing. I can't say.
And we've like signed an NDA.
Yes.
Sure thing. Awesome. That's a totally legit answer. But that's very exciting.
Cool. Yeah.
I can't wait till the NDA is lifted, expired, whatever it is.
Whatever it is. Yeah. I'm sure. I'm sure it'll come out anytime soon. But yeah, I can't say anything, or I will be. You won't hear from me.
Yeah.
It's that kind of yeah.
Like, so what's next? Well, because I told you, hunger. Awesome. Well, Abu, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
It's been wonderful. It's been such an interesting interview. So, thank you everyone who's tuned in again this week, and we'll be back next week with an incredibly interesting interview. See you then. Goodbye.
Super music. Craziness.
Oh.
Thanks everyone for tuning into this episode. If you like the sound of Abu, his links are in the description. Remember to give us a like on Facebook and Twitter, and don't be afraid to share your comments telling us what you enjoy. The show is constantly evolving and we want to hear from you. If you missed last week's episode with Jamie Coles, click on the annotation to take you to it, and remember to tune back in next week for another awesome episode of So, What Next?